Hello, hello! For those of you who do not know me, my name is Brittany Davey, and I am a Director of Influence with Tori Bell Cosmetics, and I have some exciting tips and tricks to show you today, all revolving around Instagram and Facebook stories, and how to use those to where you're not just posting random things, but utilizing your stories to bring in conversations and to also make money. So if that is something that interests you, keep watching. I'm going to give you a few tips. I'm going to show you some screen shares of how I make my stories. So I'm excited to get into this. All right, so I'm going to start with my top 3 tips for your stories, and I have notes here, so you're going to see me kind of looking down so I don't rabbit trail because I get really excited. And I just started implementing this like a month ago, and I'm seeing a lot of reward on it already. So I took a training from the Goal Digger Girl, and that is where I got some of this. I've watched some YouTube training, so I've really been trying to absorb the most I can about stories and following other people that I really admire in the marketing business and see how they do it. So the top 3 things that I've gathered is keep it cohesive. So keep all of your posts in your stories just like they would be on your page. You can do more salesy things in there, but keep it cohesive so it all looks like you. It looks like your style. Kind of come up with like if you like really bright, bold colors, reds, blacks, those kinds of things. Kind of keep that theme throughout all of your posting. They don't all have to be the same. You want a little difference in there, but try to keep it cohesive as much as possible. Also, stay consistent. You want to be posting in your stories every single day, and you want to post like 5 times a day to really get people in your stories. In what happens when you're posting every day, if somebody is constantly coming back on Instagram or Facebook to look at your stories, you're going to populate up in that first part of that bubble, like that real estate you want to be in on people's pages. But if you take a couple days off where you haven't posted and they're looking at someone else's stories, you're not going to be in that front few bubbles anymore. And that's where we want to be. We want people to be coming and clicking on our stories first before they watch anyone else's. So cohesive, consistent, and be engaging. So you want to be you want to have your face in there. You want to share little bits of your life that's not just all lash sales or business posts, but like funny things, like if your kid says something funny, or if you're out for a walk, but kind of like build a story up out of it. So those are my 3 big tips when it comes to that. And then another tip is I like to create most my stories in Instagram because there's a lot more stickers and things that you can build, and then you can save it from Instagram and then share it over to your Facebook platform. If you record a video in your stories on Instagram, sometimes I like to pop on and be like, hey, story time. Oh my gosh, this just happened. And it will break it up as it posts to your stories into shorter clips. You can save those on your phone and then go post it over on Facebook. So you're not having to film content for both platforms. And you can kind of bounce things on both of those. All right, let's see. You always want to put a call to action. This is true for your posts on Facebook, Instagram, as well as in your stories. You want to do some sort of call to action. Put a button that they can click on to send a heart, a like. Put a poll question like, oh, do you like these eyelashes or these ones better? Are you more of a natural or a bold lash lover? Do you like tacos or pizza? Like kind of do some sort of fun poll in there. It gets people in your messenger box. So what happens is if they take a quiz or a poll or they answer a question, those go in to your messenger, or you can respond to them through Messenger. So it gets a conversation going so much more than if they're just scrolling through and you don't know who's watching your stories. So you can really engage, see who's interested in your stuff, and then build a sale up off of that. I mean, it's perfect if you were to do like, which lash style is your favorite? And you have selfies on one eye and ladies night on the other, and someone's like, oh, I love selfies. Then you message and be like, have you tried these? I'd love to hook you up with some selfies. So super easy. A lot of times if they're responding, it's because they're interested. So you can write that down as a lead. And then I have some mistakes that people make in their stories. And I already kind of talked about this, is not posting daily. Making it not about you. So where you're just sharing other people's content, it's not personal to you. If people are following you, they want to follow you. They want to know who you are. They want to know your brand, not just the products you sell or other people. It's okay to add in some other people in there, but try to keep it really true to you. That it's not eye-catching. So I'm going to show you when I create these stories here in a minute on my screen share. You want to do something that kind of makes it pop off the page, that makes people want to stop their scroll, because we're like a fast-paced society. We keep scrolling. It takes something to kind of click, and so you want something that has a little motion to it, some fun colors, that's really eye-catching, that people are going to want to like pause on it and look and see what it's all about. And all right, so, and you want your stories to come to life, and stories stay visible for 24 hours and then they disappear. You can highlight them, and I suggest utilizing the highlight section. You can break it down into like my life, lashes, different things, tips and tricks, tutorials, and break it down. And so when you are in your stories, you can click highlight before it disappears after the 24 hours, and you can save it. And then last but not least, there are two apps that I love using to create stories where you can do really beautiful things. And those are StoryChick and StoryArt. I'm not sure if it's StoryChic or if it's StoryChick. And I will show you those really quick, in a screen share on how I play around with those and add just really fun, eye-catching stories. Okay, so here are two of my favorite apps. They are called StoryChick and StoryArt. And if you open them up, you can see all the different things that are in it. I have not paid for them animated. These are a few of the stories that I've done. You can play around with it, change the pictures out. You can add videos in where the pictures go. And then StoryArt, I did pay for the app for this one, but they do have a free version as well that had some decent options. I love the animated ones, and I also love these watercolor stories. I feel like they're really soft and pretty, and that's kind of my style. So this is in StoryChick, and I'm going to open up, I'm going to look through and find one of the ones that I want to use. I'm going to use this with 2 pictures, and then I'm going to go through, I'm going to select a video that I actually made on TikTok. You can use any videos that you make, and I'm going to put this in, and it takes a little bit to load. Our internet is very slow right now. And then I'm going to find a picture, and I'm just going to do a picture for the other one that kind of shows off the lashes. And I'm going to add text on the side. Don't mind my spelling errors. I'm going to just say lashes as easy as bibbidi boppity boo, because that is the song that plays in my video. And once you get your text in there, you can edit the font you want it to be. I try to keep this pretty cohesive throughout my stories. I like the same kind of watercolor feel, light colors that make the pictures really stand out and pop. And then I like to try and keep the same font kind of idea the same, so my stories flow and it's not just a bunch of random things. So you just see here, I am adding the text. I'm going to kind of bring it closer together and change the font. And then you can see the finished product here in just a second.
Salagadoola, metricaboola, bibbidi bop.
I pay the best in the West. They say the best.
Okay, so for this one, I'm using the StoryArt app, and I'm going in and just finding something kind of colorful and bright, because I'm going to make a story that doesn't have to do with lashes, but that has to do with travel, our trip we took to Disneyland last month. And I have 3 photos I wanted to use, so I'm going to use this grid, go in and select the photos, and then kind of play around with the placement on them. See where they fit best in this grid, and then I'm going to change up the text on it, and I will show you in a minute how I'm going to make this kind of an interactive post to get people in your message box on Instagram. So once you save it, go into your Instagram, go up to the little camera icon at the top of your Instagram, and you're going to want to go to camera roll, grab that story you just made, And then I like to swipe up and do an interactive poll or quiz or something. And a little trick here is if you do a space at that question, you can make the question in a different font. So you add in 2 options. I like to do this up at the top, kind of in the center, so people don't accidentally click the poll when they're trying to go to your next story. And then what I said with ask the question, if you spacebar that, you can erase it out. And then I like to make my question a little more bold so people can see it better than just the white font option that Instagram gives for the question when you do this poll. So I'm just doing anyone else dreaming of where they will travel when this is all over. And I'm going to put that on there. And then I'm going to swipe up from the bottom and I'm going to grab a little GIF, just kind of make it draw your eye in. If there's a little bit of movement in your stories, a lot of times it'll make people stop their scroll and they want to see. So you swipe up, I search arrow, I use this a lot, and then I just kind of direct the eye to where I want people to go in my story, because you just have a few seconds to grab people's attention. And then you submit it, share it to your story, and you're done. So I like to create most all of my stories on Instagram and then save them to my phone and repost them over to Facebook. If you do this, it will kind of cut the videos down into segments if you do a video, and that way it's short enough to go into Facebook. So here I just found a background on Pinterest. I added it in there and then I pasted a photo in. I'm just finding a fun little moving GIF, however you say those, of some lips to add some motion to my story. I'm going to reposition that up to the top and then reposition my photo. If you click on the photo, you can switch it whichever direction you want it, and then add it. And I'm going to swipe up again and add a poll feature. I do this to most of my stories because it's interactive and it gets people, if they answer this question, it goes to your inbox. So it gets people in your inbox and talking to you. So here I'm just putting, have you ever used eyeshadow on your lips? And then I'm going to put that at the bottom, and this way I can then share this story. It's kind of interactive. It gets people like to kind of stop and read what's going on here. I hope this is super helpful to grow your business. It takes a little while to really see the effect of this. Like I said, it's been about 2 months since I've really been consistent and posting in my stories and making it cohesive. And I've had more interaction, more people messaging me like, okay, hey, I want these lashes. Because a lot of times people won't see your stuff in the Facebook scroll because it either gets buried or it doesn't show. But in your stories, you have a lot more visibility. Most of my stories are viewed like 200 times, whereas I don't know with my Facebook posts. So I hope this is helpful. I can't wait to see your beautiful stories you create. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Have an amazing day.